we have a fabulous instrument, our body. It's an amazing divine instrument. The heart beats, it's not because of what we think. It is something more than what we can control or do. So to realize that we are all connected, we are all basically part of the bigger, much, much bigger than we think we are.
It's the Health in the Real World podcast. It's time to start the show with Chris Janke as your host. Here to give you everything that you need when it comes to fitness strategies. We keep it simple and easy. It's your roadmap to get healthy. You don't need equipment and you don't need a gym. Just the right strategies to get you fit and trim.
The Health in the Real World podcast is sponsored by most exercises and workouts, whether they be running, biking, elliptical, rowing machine, traditional weightlifting, or even CrossFit, do not give you a balanced workout. And when you do workouts that neglect even one area, you're out of balance, resulting in pain and injury as well. Achieve your goals with the fitness program your chiropractor would love. Visit chrisjanke.com/pod to watch the free video. Hello and welcome to Health in the Real World. I'm here today with Ravi Sahay. Ravi, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited to be with you, Chris.
I'm excited to have you here too. Yeah. Well, thank you again for joining me. Quick introduction. Tell everybody, what you do and how you help people in the health and wellness area.
Well, I am 74 years old. I just celebrated my birthday on February 9th. And I have regained my health using something that is basically natural and basically lifestyle changes. So at this point in my life, I want people to know that they have all the instruments inside to lead a healthy life. And health is wealth at any stage. So I have written 2 books, but my main purpose is to share with people and empower them to lead a healthy life. It's unfortunate that 1 out of 2 people are chronically ill in this country. And the cost of healthcare is actually threatening our basically existence as a country, as an individual, as a community. So basically, it's an optimistic message and sharing that you can regain your health with empowering yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm testament to that as well. I've been unhealthy in my life. And sounds like you may have a story of something you came back from, or did you go through kind of an unhealthy phase? What was that like? And then how did you get out of that? How did you get to where you are now?
Yes, actually, I came to this country at the age of 23. So that was 50 years ago, or 51 years maybe. And I worked as an electrical engineer, and you go through the ladder and become, successful, got 2 master's degrees. But then my health started to fail in small increments. Like I had blood pressure, high blood pressure, you start taking medicine. Then after that, my sinusitis was flaring up. There was nothing much that can be done except some antihistamines. Then I had eczema, and after that, the big one hit. At 2003, I had a heart attack.
Oh boy!
A stent was put in, and then I had congestive heart failure in 2007. 2012, they put a pacemaker, and after that, my health has started to improve because I took charge of myself. I started to eat healthy. I started to look at my stress level, which of course was created by mind. And I went to integrative medicine doctor. My cardiologist is integrative medicine. She is well renowned. And gradually with Ayurveda, which is holistic lifestyle medicine from India, like you, Chris, I do yoga, I do meditation, I eat mostly plant-based. And right now I take three medicines, but my pacemaker has been disabled. My ejection fraction is normal, and I lead a healthy, normal life.
That's great. And through steady lifestyle changes, Ayurvedic medicine is, I mean, it's thousands of years old. It's based on natural healing. It's based on, like you said, plant-based lifestyle changes. And that's fantastic. I mean, you had a heart attack 20 years ago and you don't need your pacemaker, like you said, and it's amazing what lifestyle changes can do, right?
Yes, and Ayurveda and microbiome, these are the two things we need to talk about. And what I'm going to say up front, that this 5,000 years old holistic medicine had a knowledge of microbiome.
Wow.
And microbiome is the biggest discovery that the conventional medicine has found.
Yeah.
And yet, pharma is looking for a pill, but the answer is not in a pill. The answer is in empowering ourselves and getting our lifestyle in order.
Right.
So that is the message that you and I have to give, because pharma is not going to do that. And that is the most crucial part of our bending the curve.
And you know, you see it in a lot of ancient recipes. Like, for example, I'm part German, Polish. You know, they would eat sauerkraut with the hot dog. You know, because they knew the sauerkraut helped to digest. You know, you see it in with like kimchi in Asian cultures. You see it with like fermenting of vegetables in all kinds of cultures. You know, kind of historically. And you're right. I think it's something that modern medicine is just now finding out. And you're right. They are trying to put it in a pill. They already have. You know, this is your gut health pill. When really it takes you know, healthy food. Do you have like a? I kind of go back and forth on this. On sometimes I'll give myself sort of like a quota of vegetables for the day, and sometimes I'll sort of let it organically happen. Do you have like any kind of quota, or do you have like a secret recipe that you do every day? I do like a green vegetable juice drink most days. Do you have like a rock star recipe in that way?
Well, the answer is to some extent yes, and and also I have provided a framework in my book. So let me say this, that a diversity of food, mostly plant-based, you cannot go wrong, okay? And when I say diversity, means eat fresh. And when you say eat fresh, you're eating local, and fresh also means organic. So in my book, I say, you know, if we can have 20 to 30 varieties of vegetables and fruits in a week, that is good, okay? And similarly, you can have different kind of rice, you can have different kind of lentils. And, you know, in fact, in Indian stores, you'll find the variety of lentils that are available is just amazing. But the other wonder thing is the mung bean. You know, the Chinese call it mung bean. I call it mung beans, you know, which is Indian. But sprouting mung beans and it's so simple to do it, because 24 hours you soak and 24 hours you aerate, and it is sprouted. And then I put variety of probiotics on it, you know, like sauerkraut, like kimchi, like this pickle in Indian store, which is ginger and turmeric. so that is a base with which I would do my breakfast. I also make my own kefir, and the kefir making is so simple. It's simpler than yogurt, because yogurt you have to boil milk, and you can mix milk. You can have plant-based milk also, like almond or soy milk, or coconut milk, or dairy, goat milk. I take a little bit of those. So making your own fermented kefir is a great idea. So prebiotic and probiotics, that is where our emphasis should be.
Absolutely.
So that our gut is healthy.
Yeah, and you mentioned coconut milk. I know coconut's a very important prebiotic, right? Coconut vinegar, I think, has a lot of prebiotics. How do you make your kefir? What do you do? What's your quick recipe?
Yes. So first, of course, it's in my book. But what I do is, this tea leaf strainer that we have with tongs. So in there, I put a starter, and the starter you can purchase powdery starter. I give a link of Amazon and my book. So you put that powder in that tea strainer, and you dip it in a cup and fill it with milk. And 24 hours later, you have kefir. It's as simple as that.
Wow,
and you can fill it with different kind of, milk, as I told you. And when I go on vacation, I put it in fridge. If my vacation is short, if it is long, I put it in freezer. And when I come back, I put the starter again, and I'm in business.
Wow.
So in a way,
24 hours, right?
Exactly. And the point
quick.
is, this starter will last for life.
Right.
I have to bequeath it to somebody in my
will. Right. That's awesome. I mean, you're right. It can't get much easier than that. And that's something that, turning the milk into kefir helps kind of digest. It helps it turns it into something that the body really can easily figure out how to digest, use the proteins from it, and everything. I want to talk about the mung beans, or the mung beans. I have firsthand experience from this. For those of you watching, the mung, they sell them at even conventional grocery stores. They're fully sprouted. They're long. They're white when they're sprouted, but when they're beans, they're green. And you're right. One day of soaking, just literally submerge them in a cup of water. Next morning, drain it, keep them moist, but they're not soaked, and then they'll develop these little tails. And absolutely, I think I did that probably every day, like a cup of those sprouted mung beans every day for several years. So hearing you say that is I'm getting back on that bandwagon, because I could definitely tell a difference with that. You get high quality, very easy to digest protein, and healthy carbohydrates, good energy to start the day.
Absolutely. And these are the things Ayurveda suggested, right?
Yeah.
And we can get into mind and mental health and all that, and yoga. It's just amazing. And so we don't need these double-blind clinical studies.
Right.
We all have to basically say, hey, this is something known, and microbiome is proving it. The problem is, it's so complex. Pharma is not able to find a way to create something, and that is why we have not been given all these basics knowledge that we need.
Right. No, you're right. If what you're doing, what I do with just sharing information, sprouting mung beans or eating more vegetables, there's not a lot of money in it. And so you're right. The pharmaceutical companies are not going to touch it, because you can't put it into a pill that you can charge, $20 per pill for or more. But it's simple. It's, I would say it's borderline common sense. I don't know if it's as common as it used to be. I don't know. I kind of have a rough time gauging whether or not we, collectively are going the right direction or the wrong direction. Maybe it's a little of both. I don't know.
I share with you, but then, your optimism and my optimism is, getting us together saying, hey, look, we can do it. It makes sense.
Right, right. And it really takes, I think, if this one episode, if one person watches it and they decide to do those 2 habits that we've talked about so far, that, maybe making their own kefir and sprouting their own mung beans, one person does that, then that's going to have a trickle effect. I mean, that recipe that I do, the green drink recipe, very simple, very easy. And instead of trying to, do a full overhaul of somebody's habits and, okay, now you need to completely change this, I said, don't worry about anything, keep eating what you're eating. Don't judge yourself. Just add the green drink. That's it. Just add a green drink. You'll see little by little over time, your taste buds will start to change. You're going to start to crave those vegetables a little more, but don't force it. It'll happen, kind of organically, naturally. And it's a nice gift to give to people. Like, I'll just try the green drink. It's very simple.
Absolutely. And you see, the other part, which is also, of course, in my book, is daily detoxification. You see, we live in a difficult environment, a lot of pesticides, this, that, we all know all that, which was not true before, but let us say thousands of years ago, as I see it. But we have forgotten about how to keep our body clean. I mean, car, we do oil change, this, that. So the daily detoxification, there's a word for it in Ayurveda. It's a Sanskrit word. It's called Soch. Soch means purity of body and mind. Purity of body and mind. And for body, there are 10 steps that you take, and that is cleansing the bowel movement. And before, the bowel movement has to be regular. Before you have bowel movement, you drink glass of water, you do a little bit of movement. The point is, it's like a clockwork. Then you do oil pulling, the oral microbiome, the nasal rinsing, the neti, the eye wash, the massage of the body, the abhyanga, and of course, shower. So this practice was first thing in the morning, and this was just prescribed. When I was a child, this is what I was doing. But you see, we have forgotten that this is needed to keep the body healthy.
Yeah, that's good, kind of simple daily strategies that you can do to, like you said, get that elimination going, cleanse everything. You're cleansing your gut, you're cleansing your mind. That's that's great. So
yeah, for the mind, the other part is yoga and meditation. So
yes.
So again, that is the part of that Ayurvedic approach, and it's not like you have to do hatha yoga, all poses. You just do a small steps, as you have talked about.
Yeah.
And build on it. And meditation is simple, basically mindfulness, so that mind is at rest. It is not always humming. Just like a car, you turn it off, it's okay, we will survive,
It'll restart when you're ready. And it
Right.
really doesn't take much. I think somebody who's new to meditation, exactly what you just said. It doesn't have to be complicated. Just turn off your mind, and it's not always going to go off right away, but even just 5 minutes, right? If you just commit at first to just 5 minutes, and then you'll have this feeling of success, like, oh, I did it. Oh, that's great. Then, okay, great. Let's do that again tomorrow. And then let's do it again the next day. And even just these little 5-minute increments can start to add up and start to really change the quality of life.
Yeah, and this gut-brain axis, I don't know if you have heard about it. This whole mental health is going to change because microbiome has given us that the gut talks to the brain. And gut talks to the brain, 10 times more than the brain talks to the gut. So the food creates your mood, So this whole thing is body and mind. They are not two separate things. And the mental health also gets into this community and the caring and belonging and all that kind of thing, which we have just gone the other way, in last at least 60 years.
Yeah, I agree. It's all important. It's all inclusive. Health is not just counting calories and doing your workout. It's your life. It's everything. It's your community that you're in. It's the support structures that you get. It's family. That's great. Ravi, I had a question for you. So you're an author. As an author, do you get a lot of feedback from people who you've helped influence? Like, say somebody reads your book. One thing that I noticed, the reason I asked the question is that I've been a trainer since 2004, and I get immediate feedback. And then when I wrote a book, I put the book out there. It was on Amazon, and I could see on this chart it was selling. It was selling, and I was like, "Oh, that's great!" It felt great, but then I'm like, "Who's reading it? I want to meet these people." But there wasn't that feedback loop. Does that happen to you, or are you able to also talk with people? And what is that like for you?
Well, that's a very good question, and I'm not that social media savvy, and I don't spend that much time on social media. But I am very gratified that the reviews that I have, and few people have, called me, and they have basically said, their life is changed, which is a great thing to hear. For instance, I have a simple recipe about tooth powder, which is basically 5 spices. And one doctor, MD, he said to me that this is so good that he has told his daughters, and they are doctors, and they started to use it. But the point is, this is an age-old recipe of
Right.
5 spices. Now, what are those 5 spices? Those are in your spice cabinet. Basically, it is baking soda, it is salt, it is turmeric powder, it is neem powder, and lastly, cloves powder. Cloves.
Nice. And 2 of those are in neem and baking soda. You'll even find those in very mainstream toothpaste. And
Absolutely.
and then the other 3 are very recognized for their health benefits too. Ravi, what's the name of your book? Or you said you had 2 books out.
Yes, the first book, which was basically, I was struggling with my health and trying to figure it out, how much to rely on conventional medicine, and then came to integrative medicine. That book is My Health is Your Wealth. The recent book, which is more like a handbook for living, which is based on Ayurvedic prescription, and which is what I have used, is called May You Be Healthy. So this is a prayer. The book is a prayer. May you be healthy. As you can see, there's a feminine hand, and with incense, etc. It is basically a prayer.
Oh wow.
And
That's
I
cool.
hope people would benefit from this.
Yes, absolutely. I love both of those titles. And then My Health is Your Wealth. I love that.
Right, right.
Nice.
This is, and the reason I'm an economics, I was teaching economics, and I was looking at healthcare costs in 2000, actually around the time heart attack happened, 2003. And the reason I say my health is your wealth, because if I'm healthy, I'm using less of Medicare. And actually, that is somebody else's wealth. The other way to look at it is, if I'm healthy, then I am able to be productive, I am able to help others. So health is wealth, just not in a selfish sense. Health is wealth for community, for the country, and everybody.
I agree. And this is something that I get into some conversations with people about this, about health being almost the most individualistic thing in the world. Like, right, like you can talk about how much, you can get real political, and like, how much help do we give to people who are financially struggling, and as the government, right? With health, despite however many medications they produce, vaccines, quarantine, right? Ultimately, each individual's health is really their responsibility. And that's not a judgment or anything, but I'm the only one that has to live with my choices at the end of the day inside of my body. However, I do agree with you that the healthier I am, the healthier you are, the healthier all our friends are, the less of a burden we're placing on other people. As you were talking, as you were saying that, I was reminded of uh, I don't know who this what culture this is, but as they like get older and they start to, oh man, I know cats, like animals, do this. Like they'll go off into the woods to die. Like when they're like, I'm done, right? Like you don't see like a herd of cats taking care of the one, right? But I think like a Native American culture does this as well. But
Sure, and in Indian cultures also the saints do that. But
yeah,
plants do it all the time. You look at
sure,
plants, you know.
right, right. Plants do it. I
I
mean,
mean, it's just amazing. But you see, in economics, health and education, these two are called positive externality. In other words, when I am healthy and I am educated, the community is getting benefit. Whereas if I drive a car and I pollute it, it is a negative externality.
sure,
So,
right, right.
so health and education, as you rightly said, it is our individual responsibility. But the beauty is that we enrich the community also. So that is an added responsibility for us to be healthy, be educated,
Yeah.
educated in true sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a great double benefit. You're healthy for your own intrinsic sake, you're educated for your own intrinsic sake, and that health and education transfers out into the broader community. Yeah, that's a win-win for everyone, which is kind of how I originally thought of this podcast, is that I always wanted to create a win-win where you and I can exchange ideas, and then whoever's watching, can also kind of be in on that mix. So it's like everyone's getting educated and healthy together.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And you are doing a fabulous job. Thanks again. Yeah, Chris.
absolutely. Well, thank you again for joining me. Ravi, wow, it's already time. I want to I want to go really big picture. I like doing this for the last question. Even bigger than just health, but go very big picture, like how to get the most out of life. You are speaking at, let's say, like a graduation ceremony, or maybe you're the keynote speaker at a corporation. What are kind of some keys for you to get the most out of life, and what kind of recommendations would you give to your audience? What's your
Well,
motivational talk?
yes. Um, I have 4 grandchildren, and I think about them. And frankly, I wrote the book for them. Uh, so, as you have said, the first responsibility we have is we have a fabulous instrument, our body. It's an amazing divine instrument. The heart beats, it's not because of what we think. It is something more than what we can control or do. So to realize that we are all connected, we are all basically part of the bigger, much bigger than we think we are. And then we work with each other in terms of more with heart, and mind will align itself. So this microbiome is telling us the same thing. COVID also is telling us the same thing, of course, in a more drastic way, that when our immunity is good, then we will not be affected by these viruses as much. And also, we need to help the community. So one of the catchphrase that I like is build immunity and build community.
I like that. Building immunity and building community. I like that.
And it's very selfish in a way, because when you build community, you also get your mental health
Exactly.
as a
Well,
reward.
I think, yeah, exactly. You're right. It is selfish in a way and selfless in a way because you're helping others. And same thing with the health, right? Like you said, the healthier you get, the more you benefit others. Your 4 grandchildren directly,
Yes,
and
yes,
then indirectly with the whole system, like you're saying, as far as the burden or lack of burden that we place on that system by being healthy, right? Yeah.
yes. And your message about self-empowerment is what we need to understand, that body doesn't like pills. Microbiomes don't like pills.
Right.
And we have to make, as you said, small adjustments, and we are going to be much better off.
Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. Well, Ravi, I really again appreciate you joining me. How do people get in touch with you? Like, do you have a website or email? How do you like people to contact you?
Sure. My website is just simple, ravisahay.com. RAVISAHAY.com. And there, my 2 books are there. And on the last page is a contact page, and people can contact me. And sure, I would respond and, give whatsoever I can.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone again for joining us today on Health in the Real World, today with Ravi Sahay. And Ravi, I want to thank you again for joining me today on Health in the Real World.
Thank you very much. Enjoyed it all.
Thanks for listening to the Health in the Real World show. Make sure to like and subscribe and comment down below. Visit mycorebalance.com to learn more.